We are live, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chris Knight. This is the Real Review 3000, and we are here with the Mandalorian Roundtable. You might see we got kind of a rotating cast here, so we won't always have the same people. Everybody's listed down in the description below, and make sure you check out their channels. We will get to that really quick, but we're like always, we're talking to Mandalorian episode 4 this week. And really quick, guys, we're going to do a roundabout. Let you guys say who you are, what you're about, all that. Start with you, Scott. Tell everybody where you are or who you are, what you're about.
I'm in the basement. I am in the basement, Chris. My name is Scott. I'm with Sporking News Podcast. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter. I also have a Facebook page and Instagram that I'm trying to get going. It's all sci-fi fantasy reviews, breakdowns, and my rants.
Awesome. Yeah. It just for those people who want to know, it is Sporking, not Sporting.
Yeah, not sporting. Not sporting. Many people say that.
I think
you're not the only one. You're not the only one.
But I had it right. And
what he doesn't tell you, that sport can become a rocket ship at any moment.
He has a point. He has a point.
Oh, yes. Okay. Next up, we got Comix Division Comics. Let everybody know who you are, what you're about, all that fun stuff.
Hey, everybody. I talk about entertainment stuff. Occasionally I talk about comics, never apparently these days. So mainly been talking about what's been going on in entertainment, how it's being hijacked by, the social justice warriors and whatnot. Try and talk about good entertainment too, like The Mandalorian at times. So come check me out at Comix Division on Twitter and just search for Comix Division with an X on YouTube.
Yes, I think I might have said it wrong also. I say so many things wrong on my damn. It's like I got too many names to remember. Too many names.
I say it wrong all the time, probably.
Next up, we have Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers is part of the Phantom Menace Volume 1 author team, so make sure you go check that out. I think your Indiegogo is over, but can they still get the book?
We're talking about different ways for people to be able to acquire the book, perhaps digitally. This is because I had an intentional plan to distribute books in a very particular way to learn not only the market and the demographic, but also to learn my way at producing a larger work in a series. And so it was done on a small scale because, as everyone around here might know, but not everyone out there might know, independent work is pretty lonely work. And so trying to pile the work on into something that's already quite elaborate, I've tried to minimize as much as I can because of the workload. And so we've kept it that way intentionally on purpose, not only for the workload purpose, but also to protect the investments of the initial backers. But we are talking about how we can perhaps open up sales in a different way. We were thinking perhaps a digital copy with no cover art, no fancy stuff in the middle, just a basic book, a digital copy type of thing that we could offer at a discount, probably for people that didn't manage to get in on the project itself. Because I do believe that the backers of the project that put up the money to be able to produce it should receive the proper copies. And we do have a few copies left over, and there's a few because we produced 250 units and 216, I think, were sold. And so we do have a few extras, and people can reach out to us, of course. And please do if that's something that interests you. I'm also a contributor at Bleeding Fool, and these are my community mates, and I'm happy that they have me on. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hail to that.
And last but not least, we have Bear Nerd Fun. But Bear's.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Go ahead.
Well, this is Bear at Bear Nerd Fun, having a great day, and kids under feet and making noise and all kinds of joyful things like that. How are you? Thanks for coming.
Oh. Hello. Okay.
Hello.
I was just making sure.
Nope.
It sounded like
I am having internet issues.
Oh, okay. It just sounded like
internet burps.
We'll
call them.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Burps.
Yeah.
Of all the times I've streamed, I've only had once where it dropped completely, and I'm like, "What the heck?" So I was on an interview show, and I actually ended up doing a second one, and that was kind of funny. I don't know if any of you guys know Hoff Solo of Hoffcast, but that was where it was. Check out his channel sometime if he's still out there in the universe. Okay.
Hoff and Vase are hilarious.
Yes, they are. They're great. So My first comment on today's show, the first thing that I have to say is I knew there would be a point when the show would be brought to almost a standstill. And that was episode 4, I think. What do you guys say?
It's definitely the weakest.
It is.
By far.
So what do you think, Scott?
I think it's the weakest also. It's a close weakest. Like the second episode to me still was it's like a notch above it, but there was no need for this. It was there was a lot of just in-world flaws that I can't get behind. But yeah, I think it was the weakest one. But it does seem like a lot of people did like it. But
I mean, it's okay, but it's that episode that has very little to do with the plot of the whole
when
thing.
it should.
Yeah,
Chris, it should be the one that grabs you, man.
And that's what I said last week is episode 4 and episode 5 are the two big ones when you're in what is it, 8 episodes, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So 4 really is your middle.
Yeah.
4
it's
and
like
5.
it's like your mid-season finale, like that should be the one that's going to tell you where we're going in this series. And I still don't know what the hell's going to happen with this series. I have no clue where they're going. I don't think they do.
No. I would agree with that. It's on very shaky ground at this point, and I don't see it going up at this point. Right. Gary, he knows a lot about TV shows more than I do, and he brought on the whole thing by the 4th episode. This is where it really should, be on solid ground and gaining momentum, and we didn't get that with this episode. So that's kind of the biggest problem here is where do we go from here?
Right.
I mean, meandering.
Yeah.
I kind of understand what they were trying to do with this episode 4. In most folk songs and tales, and there was a lot of westerns that were folk tales, and I think they were trying to build the legend of the folktale village. I think that's what they.
Yeah, it looks like we lost.
Oh, we lost Mike. Bear, are you there? Okay. We'll let him
I know what he's saying, and that was kind of the thing I pointed out in my my review is that this is very much a Western episode. That a lot of the issues I have with it is that it's too short for it to work. It has all of the classic kind of man with no name tropes. He strolls in the town. He gets hired to save the village from the bad guys. There's a woman who is the widow, and she's a very strong woman. She knows how to protect herself, and she's the potential love interest. The problem is that it wasn't a long enough episode for them to really bond and develop this relationship.
Right. And it would have to be over an hour long.
Yeah. And a lot of those movies are either 90 to 120 minutes. So you have plenty of time to establish these relationships. And you don't get that in this episode. So it all feels very forced and unrealistic and quite frankly, kind of uninspiring. I mean, the episode, it wasn't bad, but that's just kind of the problem. It's very middle of the road mediocre. It's not terrible like The Last Jedi, but it's because the bar is set so low. I just don't know where we're going with the show at this point.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, so let's be honest. It gets to that point where we're like, okay, if he had left the yodeling there, then perhaps then he has completed a part of what he sees as his fulfilling whatever he's after, which is protect this child, which is where we're at now. We're past the bring the child in and get our reward. We've now moved on to now he feels he has to protect it. And if that had happened, then he does fulfill one part of this.
But that's an issue with it. That's a huge issue with it because I'm sorry, but he doesn't know if all the bounty hunters are dead. So there's fobs out there, and he knows what these fobs do. We don't, but he does.
No, but hence the problem. We find out at the end. No, that's not the end. We saw as soon as you see the bounty hunter with the fob, you're like, he can't leave it. And that's it. It's the beginning and the end are the two most important parts of this. We understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to find a place where he can lay low because he's just pissed off a huge guild.
Yep.
His his clan, the Mandalorian group, has now had to leave where they were.
Yep.
So we understand why he's doing the first part. So the first part makes sense. But everything in between, while not a bad episode per se, because it moved fine, it did that, but there's nothing in it that moves the whole storyline. And I said that, I think in episode, when we were talking about episode 1, that these types of things, the thing Star Wars has never run into is TV series, a series, because think of, back in the day, Knight Rider, think of Lost or whatever. There was always a 1 or 2 episodes, if more, if it was a long season, that's just there. The episode's there. The bad guy, the main bad guy, or whatever's always after the people, or whatever the main storyline is. And every TV show, no matter how many episodes they have off of the main storyline, always has a main storyline. CSI had the crazy serial killer or the stalker,
right.
NCIS. They all have these different things. That's the underlining story that moves everything along. And while they break away from it every once in a while, it's okay because that has a long-standing tradition. This does not.
Correct.
We have to stay on track, and they didn't do it here. They gave us nothing that moves us forward. He leaves the shock trooper there, so she doesn't join the group. Okay, if she had joined the group, I would have said, okay, at least we have a reason for why he was there, a reason for why they went through. They worked well together. He says, why don't you come with me? Because, I'll help you get, you'll find what you want out there, which you'll find something for you to do. But no, he leaves her there. Right. So we get nowhere in this episode. Absolutely nowhere. We actually go backwards at times. Like when the kid comes in and she wants to feed the yodeling and she wants to play with the yodeling. We make it look like it's a real young child when we know it can feed itself. We've seen it happen. We've seen a lot of this stuff, and it makes no sense now. The child can walk and follow the Mandalorian without any help. So what are we trying to do with that scene? None of it really helps anything go on. And that's the problem.
And you're absolutely right. I think the important things you find in this episode, you can probably fill in a minute, 20 seconds. Exactly. He meets her, the shock trooper, Cara Dune, or whatever her name is. He finds out the fobs are still active. That's it. That's all you need to. That's it. Mm-hmm. Everything else was filler. Everything else was not needed. There were so many just, like things that bothered me the most. And I know we're going to go over it, but one thing that killed me was she was there after Endor. So yes, she might not have been in the Battle of Endor, but she was there afterwards. She would have heard all the different tales, all the different battles, what people did, what strategies. And then she says, the ATST, we can't defeat it here. Like, you didn't hear that the Ewoks tripped the damn thing. They put 2 logs and smashed them together. They did all these different things to take down the Empire, but she knew nothing. Like we're out because we have no clue. There was so many just like in-world flaws and in-world mistakes. Like he got there and he was worried about her, but no one knew he was going to that planet. Like it just so many things that just I was like, okay, where did the woman in the in this backwoods freaking village learn how to be a sniper? She was an assault. Like she was a killer. It wasn't like she hit the thing once. She hit it multiple times on the move.
No,
and we find out nothing.
Being, semi-accurate and still hitting the target, but she was like knocking out like sniper precision.
There's more of a story there.
Yeah, where's the justification for it? And that's the big thing.
Well,
that I think
could have took 20 seconds.
You could have said, "Oh yeah, I was a sharpshooting champion when I was 12."
Yeah,
exactly. That's perfectly fine, and that's the exact same thing for anyone, male or female, out in the backwaters of the middle of nowhere. You got to give them a justification for being that good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point that you bring up right there, Comix, and I'll lead right off of that because frontier is a big word in that what he just said. Isolation, like let me just I can agree with all of my brothers.
Backwater skug hole,
but I can agree with all my brothers here and still be the contrarian. So let's just crank this right back to the beginning. Mediocrity and Star Wars are two words that I should not be using in the same sentence.
Agreed.
Chris, when you say what you had to say at the beginning, mediocrity and Star Wars do not belong in the same sentence.
Well, no.
No,
I meant in the sense of this instance of this of what
episode.
we're talking about in a TV series.
In a series, there's some episodes that are
cannot
crap.
do this.
Well, not with Star Wars. I can tolerate that other productions and other networks.
Yes.
All situations have troubles with first seasons. But again, my original problem with bringing Star Wars onto a television set, in hockey terms, Jon Favreau does not have enough room to move his legs. Okay. There's nowhere to move. Okay. First of all, the helmet issue. Why are we going to isolation in the Outer Rim to a frontier planet where a fob hopefully cannot find us? Why are we doing this, gentlemen? Because we want to hide, right?
Yeah.
So if we're hiding on the planet, and that is the expressed intent reason to even begin the episode in the first place, let's start with the fucking premise, okay?
Yeah.
We get there, and he flies the ship intentionally outside of village limits. I mean, I know they saw him or whatever. That's a wonderful shot that we got to see flying over the forest and everything. But you can see that he did not want to be near settlements.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's so obvious.
Yeah.
So in any case, we end up with introductions in the episode. And you know damn well he's going to run into somebody on the planet. We're not going to watch a whole season of him finding worms and grubs with Timon and Pumbaa out in the friggin' woods, okay?
No, agreed.
That's not going to be the kind of story we have hiding out on a pretend Dagobah, I guess. We have these introductions. Now, he's a Mandalorian. How many places have we already been with this character where every single situation that he's in, everybody knows what he is because of why?
His armor.
He's wearing it. He's broadcasting it.
Yeah.
So if you're going somewhere to hide,
exactly,
why would you? And no one's ever seen your face. That's not a shortcoming. That's an advantage. A ninja.
I mean, they say that at the end.
A
actually,
ninja would use something like that. If you're going to a place that you've never been to hide from a bunch of people that have never seen you, what the fuck are you wearing that armor for going into the village?
That is a very valid point, Mike.
No,
because the people in the village know what a fucking Mandalorian is too, don't they? Because they fucking drove their wagon out. They drove their fucking wagon out to the middle of the woods at night through all the things that fly, crawl.
Yeah, a full day's journey
on a frontier planet to go and beg for the guy's help. So first of all, if you're hiding, you're doing a shit fucking job, mister. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, I agree with you completely. That's a very good observation.
Everybody out there in the world, the feminists and everybody, why can't we see his face? He's such a tremendous actor. Well, there was your chance. Okay, you could have given him the chance to take his helmet off. Nobody could say shit because he's in hiding and nobody knows who he is. Perfect.
That would have also brought
the actor.
That would also have brought the interaction between him and the widow
and the girl into much more sense.
Yeah, because he would have. She could have looked at him and said, "I noticed you're uneasy about something. What is it?" And he could have told.
What
her.
about?
He could have told her.
I totally agree with you, Chris. And what about change the whole fucking episode around so that by the end, when he's leaving, she's not trying to take his mask off.
She's putting it on.
Exactly. She's the one that puts it on him because you're not safe here with me anymore. You're going back out there and you're going to need this. Now tell me how that was.
Dude, seriously,
that's why
the episode right there.
He did. And I brought this up in my video.
I'm not done, Spork.
I know you are, but let me just say this real quick, man.
Sure.
I completely agree with you in that. And I was trying to say it in my video, but you said it so much better. This episode reminded me of, I want to say it was Pale Rider. I kept calling him Preacher, but you have Clint Eastwood coming into a settlement where he does the same thing, but he's dressed.
Pale Rider. Yeah.
It's Pale Rider where he's dressed as the preacher and no one knows who he is. He's not a preacher. We all know he's not a preacher. He's a gunslinger disguised as a preacher. They could easily have done that with this episode and ended just like you said, with him putting the helmet on, because he could have pretended to be something completely different. And then because we have Mandalorian history, it's not like he has to keep on that helmet. Unless this is a sect that we don't know about.
You're right, Spork. He doesn't have to keep I know I keep saying keep the helmet on, and I agree, leave it on. But the thing is, if you have an opportunity that thematically makes sense in the scenes and in the context that you're actually working in, why not use those tools? And like I said, John doesn't have enough room to move. I think that's what it is. Remember how we keep talking about our movement is a explosion against this constrictive creative space? Well, John's still stuck in one, apparently. Okay. So these tools of disguise, these tools of disguise that are not used fail. Okay. This is not Endor, and I agree with. I want to say that I think that the Cara Dune took this episode. By the way, that's my personal opinion. I think she made the episode. That being said, okay, this is not Endor, so she's obviously traveled. I like the references to the Ewok battle and everything else that she should be familiar with, and so on and so on. My problem with her interaction with these villagers and all this is, I mean, again, let's go back to the premise. Where are we going? To the middle of nowhere. Why? So we can hide. Who else goes out there? Farmers and settlers who want peace and quiet away from disturbances and bullshit. And I'm telling you, all of us, we're North Americans, aren't we? I'm pretty sure that our ancestors hacked their lives out of the wilderness here with their own two hands, amongst everything that flies, crawls, or swims that wants to eat you. There is no one anywhere that is going to convince me that any farmer, frontier person, anywhere needs to be told how to use a weapon. It is stupid beyond imagining. When the Mulan scene came, training the villagers, I'm like, you know what, man? This needs to stop, and it needs to go back to the theater where it belongs. This is why it should not be here. This is bullshit. No. Why are frontier people who have literally clawed the existence out of the earth themselves? Are you fucking kidding me? There's only one guy that knows how to shoot. Give me a break.
I agree.
One woman.
Oh, there was a man there that could shoot, but he had a gun turned. You notice how they had to correct the man who had the spear pointed the wrong way?
Yeah, I know.
That was a good one.
That made no sense. That was only for comic relief. And the fact of the matter is, anybody that lives in that farm,
comic relief for who?
Okay, no, I'm saying that's why they put it in. I'm not saying it was funny, but here's the thing: the only reason why they put it,
what it is.
Well, fine, but the only reason why they put it in there was
you think kids understand misandry?
Well, no,
I don't think they do. I think that was put in there to get a chuckle from the feminists. I think that's
here's the reason why it made no sense to put that in there. Just like you said, these are farmers, the people of the earth. They have ponds that they collect fish and stuff from. They would know how to hunt with a spear.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
What do they? Didn't the guys sit around and they don't have any way of doing any of that? No, they do.
Didn't one of the guys near the end of the episode say it took us generations to get these pools organized and growing like this? Well, then what the fuck did they do before then?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to say too, Chris, like if they didn't know how to use blasters, I'll give them that. But you're telling me they never made bow and arrows. They never used spears. They never used rocks. They never made hammers. Like they had to hunt. They don't just eat those crawdads. They must eat other animals, man, and they must kill them somehow. I mean, they couldn't make crawdads. Well, they were like shrimp. They were like blue crawdad shrimp. Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. The fact of the matter of this is that I don't care how inept a village is, they still have to have an ability that they're there after generations to
defend themselves
from something, be it a bear,
survive.
Be
it that's the main thing.
Anything. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, this was lip service for no reason whatsoever.
Well, and like I said, mediocrity. Okay, like the problems with writing it, fine. I mean, that's a separate issue, but it makes for a mediocre episode of a Star Wars series that shouldn't have any mediocrity in it. Like I don't understand why we have to stand out here at the gate, screaming up at the castle, telling them that this is not something they can get away with anymore. Like I just,
and you would think they would have learned from Game of Thrones season 8, like don't waste any episodes when you have such a short season. I mean, you just wasted a full episode when your episodes are only about 30 minutes long to 38 minutes long. You just wasted that whole time where you could have, still, you know what I mean? The rest could easily be 30 minutes. They could be 28. They could be 50. We don't know because they're not telling us anything. But what I can't stand is that you just wasted an episode. We now have 4 episodes left where you could have had an episode where Cara Dune met him somewhere more significant. Okay. He could have had a village somewhere more significant. But all they did was, all we got answers was Cara Dune and that the fob still worked. That is the only thing we learned. Okay. And yes, maybe this village woman comes back in somewhere down the line.
I
we
would
all-
imagine she won't.
Do you want me
They
to?
were
tell you-
going for the hero saves the village scenario.
Right.
But we
But
don't need
It
that.
didn't quite pan out for them.
We
But
don't
no
need
one
that.
else, there was no risk. Now you know what that episode taught me? That there is no one is going to die. I have no fear of any
No,
character.
there was at least 2 villagers that were killed.
Were there? I
That
didn't
were
see that.
non-important act.
I mean, they weren't
they were
even-
very non-important. You really had to be paying really close attention.
Exactly.
They went down and they went down hard, but they didn't really show it too good.
I'm gonna have
you
to see
haven't
it
let me-
again.
You haven't let me get onto the Shadows of the Empire ATST fight, okay?
Well, we're all getting there, buddy. We're all getting there because I
Okay.
want to know where they got it.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, one, I want to get to that. Okay, I mean, great. I didn't mind the action sequences, fine and dandy. Everything is misplaced in this episode. So I think let's talk about the no risk factor really quick.
Mhm.
You got a really good point. I really thought when they were aiming at the yodeling at the very end,
Yep.
that it was going to be her daughter.
That's me too. Me
They
too.
got-
I thought
they
she was
got
going to
it.
get hit. Yes,
And did I want that? Of course I don't. But
I did.
That's the well. Here's the thing. I didn't want that because I don't want to see a kid get hurt.
No, but I
we're
wanted
talking
it for
about
the
feeling,
story.
But exactly. But for the
Ultimate
story.
turn off
for
when kids get
us-
hurt or killed in TV shows.
But the
I hate
thing
that
is,
shit.
is in this,
I
in
get you.
Star Wars, it can happen. Think, okay, put it this way. Perfect example of in Star Wars it can happen. They slaughtered every Jedi in the temple, and
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking
in
like 3
Revenge
and
of the Sith.
4-year-olds.
so did that make
Master
people
Skywalker, what
did
should
people
we
like
do?
exactly? Did people like that? No, they don't like it. But
That's
it
But you
point.
needed it.
gives you a sense of, oh my God. So right there, one, if that had happened, there's a loss, or
Yes.
there's a loss. This woman then becomes more important because now,
Well, she has nothing holding her there now.
exactly, now she has nothing holding her there. But then the Mandalorian probably wants revenge now.
Right.
because
I
such-
wanted Game of Thrones. I wanted Game of Thrones action. I wanted
I think
wanted
you're gonna get it.
Baby Yoda to get shot in the head, and I would have loved
I knew
it.
it was. Gonna happen. I knew it was going to be. I knew it was going to be Kara that took out the assassin at that
Yeah.
point.
Of course,
You
of
know-
course.
Oh, I knew it too, but I have a. You're looking for a Game of Thrones. Like I've been terrified of this since Force Awakens came out, and I had a feeling Disney was going to do all sorts of strange things. And I've talked about this numerous times. Here's how I'm going to Game of Thrones and spoil the whole thing for you, Sport. That fob didn't belong to some. That fob didn't belong to that other bounty hunter. It belonged to both of them. Cara Dune is not helping. Cara Dune is a villain, and she is slowly reeling this guy in so that she will be absolutely the one that gets the prize. And I think that everybody's in for a heck of a surprise when it turns out that she's waiting there for him as a lookout, as a scout. I mean, I used to work in reconnaissance. That's what my name is, 60 Recce. I mean, that's what she does. She sits up there and she waits. And somebody was tracking them in their ship, already had a contact in an outer rim world, met up, and there we are.
I kind of
And
think
she-
that too.
She put him down before he took. She doesn't want to share. Obviously, she also wants a bigger reward for a living Baby Yoda, not a dead one. And
That'd be fantastic if that happens, actually. And Miss Sarcastic Nerd says it perfectly, and I agree with her wholeheartedly. I mean, I personally felt like the third episode was the best, but they were all still, they didn't give me enough of what is this show?
The substance is very lacking.
I mean, if this is going to be more than one season, is the whole thing going to be just protecting this little baby? Because I thought it would be something completely different, like a resurgent of a Mandalorian, or maybe like a guy who's totally lost all empathy and all sympathy and all humanity, and maybe get some of that back. But I mean, they're confused on what they want to do with this show. They're
Yeah, big time.
completely confused.
I was
You know,
really
do
looking
they-
for like a very kind of tones of gray. The idea that his morality is not exactly the greatest.
Right.
So, him being truly a bounty hunter, he doesn't have to be Boba Fett. I don't want to see
Right.
knock off Boba Fett. So I do appreciate that they're doing something different with this character.
But tell me you wanted to believe that he would have gave, like when he gave Baby Yoda away, you wanted to believe, oh man, he's really going to do it. Like,
Yeah.
did you ever really believe he wasn't coming back?
No, I basically called that one. I knew he was
Yeah.
going to give the baby away and then go back for it. And a lot of it is, it's the reason why he's an orphan. That's the reason why they established that in the very first episode,
Yep.
was so you have that bond between those two characters. And
Yep.
I mean, you can work with that, and I understand you can have the whole lone wolf and cub thing, and you can have it, established in the first episode that he's a bad dude, he's a bad hombre, and then it's this connection with this Yoda child that kind of brings the resurgence of his humanity throughout the course of the first season. I think part of the issue is that it's like he's already got the heart of gold at this point, so it's like where do we take this character?
Right. Like the way I look at it is something close to him, and it would be the Yoda baby has to die to change the character's trajectory, because
that would cause the downward spiral that we need for this character.
Exactly. And I know you guys, like, I come from a Song of Ice and Fire. That brought me into, I've always loved this fandom, but like that was the fandom that I finally felt like I found what I was looking for, because it was the reality of a fantasy world that I was like, I could step into this and it's real. This to me is just, it's not even like, I love OG Star Wars for the campy way it kind of is, but this is not even that. It's not, it's confused on if it wants to go dark or if it wants to go light, if it wants the comedic relief of Baby Yoda, or does it want to be like a darker, gritty Western? And I feel like maybe there's people behind the scenes pulling it both directions. And that's why we're getting what we're getting. And Mike has said that. Mike has brought that up before.
I want to get into the Shadows of the Empire ATST thing, but we will in a moment. But just exactly what you said. We've talked about Leland Chi, the game tester, who's on the story group, and I understand that this project has a different writers group and everything like that, but it is still Lucasfilm and there is still influence. And I believe, like Sporks just said, that look, when you give John and Dave the ability to go into their own show, how much pressure from all different directions do you think they're under before they even start? I mean, come on, let's get honest here.
Probably a lot.
So now that all the suspense and the suspicion over whether or not, are the toxic white males going to like this, or can we truly make them hate it so we can, piggyback our vehicles of ideology on it? Are they going to notice what's happening? We don't know what's going to happen. And everything was very quiet leading up to the release. And how did our community respond? Overall, I'd say 60 to 70% are in a positive outlook towards the series. There's lots of different for a lot of different reasons, but about 70%, I would say, on the heavy side is a pretty good indicator for our community. And now that it's become popular, not just with normies, but apparently also with the Fandom Menace, how much pressure do you think there is on them now?
Yeah,
you've got a popular show. Oh, well, that's even more important. Now we have to really pay attention to the messages you're sending.
Well,
so I think
I do hear you on that, Mike. I think season 2, we're going to see more hands in the cookie jar than we see right now, because they realize, holy crap, this is, they had a lot hedged on this because it was the first series for Disney Plus. And then boom, they actually are like, oh God, this is going to work. More hands are going to keep jumping in it. It, Chris, it's just,
unfortunately, you guys are right about this. More people are going to want their say into it, because we found our way in to their group. We found something they like. Now let's try to throw. But the problem is they're going to learn just like they did with this, like they're learning with the sequel trilogy, like they learned with Solo. You can think you have your way in,
right?
But as soon as you try to insert your ideals into it that you want out there, they're going to ruin the show.
Well, because the one good thing about this show is, even though I don't like it, and God, it's hard to say because I do like it. I like anything Star Wars almost, except for The Last Jedi. I completely despise that movie, and I think I'm going to despise Rise of Skywalker. But even Force Awakens, even though I knew the minute I saw it, this is a rehash of The New Hope, I still just liked having that world. I love stepping into this world. So at least with this show, we're not arguing about agenda politics yet. Maybe just a hair. I feel like it's starting to edge its way in, but at least we're fighting about canon. We're fighting about set design. We're fighting about music. We're arguing about this and that. We're arguing about what this fandom's all about. Just nerds debating about things we love.
Right.
So I appreciate them for that. I just wish they knew what they were planning on doing before they even started, because I feel like they have no vision of where they're going, unless the next couple episodes they blow us all away and we're like, holy crap, that's why we had to do what we just did. And I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening either.
No. Nope.
The thing is that we should keep in mind, and I hate to be the voice of moderation here, but of course you guys know that I generally try to be. I think that, I'm just going to ask a question. Is there a woke crowd out there that watches? I'm not saying they're a big majority or anything. I'm just saying, is there a woke crowd out there that likes Star Wars?
Well, let's ask Bear. Bear, what do you think?
Because there probably is. I mean, obviously. And so, I hate to have to say this, but regardless of what Dave or John or us or anybody else out here would ever want to do with the series or expect from it, there's going to have to be compromises made. And like you said, Spork, it seems, as long as it doesn't go too heavy, it seems like it's making a fair compromise because people seem to be responding well to it. And the jabs about the spear backwards there, the little chuckles for the feminists. I'm sorry, guys, but we're gonna have to take a little bit of that, okay?
Oh yeah, like the two guys not ducking behind the barricade, just staring at the ATST.
It was silly, but I don't.
Yeah, it was meant to distract you.
Yeah,
a little bit. I think we're sensitive. We're sensitive to these things. Like you were talking about this last night, Sport. Like we've been so abused that it's for some people it's going to take a lot, and I do stand beside those people. I totally understand where they're coming from. Right.
If this show was 5 years ago, I don't think we'd be talking about any of that.
Nobody.
I don't think so at all. No, nobody cared. That's right. Nobody cared. Yeah. And nobody should.
What it is.
Isn't it? Nobody should.
Yeah.
Nobody should.
I'm just hoping that it's okay. And I agree here. There's not a ton of substance in this. It works though. It's like, okay, fine. I agree with you, Scott. I don't want to make this all about the baby yodeling and him taking care of it. I hope they can figure out a way to dispatch it somehow, alive, dead, whatever they do. I don't care. I hope this isn't going to be the storyline. The underlying storyline is this damn yodeling, because it has nothing to do, at least not as we can see yet, of the Empire trying to make it back, or the First Order, or of any of these things we believe this whole series is based off of, which is to explain some of this lost time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Baby Yoda just feels like a distraction to me.
Exactly. Let's be done with it.
The keys is what they're doing.
Let's be done with it and get him where he needs to go. Leave him someplace. Kill him, whatever. I don't know what to do with it, but that's a problem. What do you do with this thing? You have to move this on to the second season will not help this, I don't think.
I think that the Yoda's not there for anybody else but the next generation, and I think this is the new Ahsoka Tano that's going to grow up with that generation and become a Jedi and grow and blah, blah, blah. You know what I think, though? I think it's going to be a Deadpool 2 motif with a little gifted character that goes down the bad road and then has to be pulled back onto the good road, and this is the kind of back and forth crap that we're in for on this Game of Thrones Star Wars, with Cara Dune coming in and trying to kill everybody once in a while.
Yeah, but it's not where it's not the storyline, and I understand what Scott, you're saying about the hands in the cookie jar and stuff. I just hope it doesn't. Okay, fine. If hands in the cookie jar, that's a TV series. It's just how it gets. On the X-Files, they had to have many different writers, many different directors, and the underlying creative team was there to kind of say, okay, but even then at times they did stuff totally out of context with the show itself. And that's okay. It happens every once in a while, but they need to make sure Filoni and Favreau have control of the reins, even when there's somebody else writing or directing it.
I mean, need
to be able to say, no, we're not, that's not what we're going for here.
Exactly. Look at, it's not the creative team I'm really worried about. It's the producers and the executives and these people. And that's the one thing, even though they bombed it, Dan and Dave had complete control over Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. Even George Martin and HBO wanted more seasons, more episodes. And they were like, no, we're not handing it over to anybody else. We're shutting it down. And they had the power to do that. I just hope, I wish Dave and John had that power, but Disney is just, it's a beast with many tentacles, and it's going to get its reach in there, because this is the first time in a long time fandom isn't attacking the movie for agenda politics and, the social justice stuff and destruction of our characters. We're attacking it based on in Galaxy things for the most part. And I think they're going to pop a Woody off of that, and they're going to destroy it by adding in all the agenda politics and all the other stuff. But for now, I don't like the show that much, but I do enjoy arguing about it and discussing about it because I could see why people do like it. I look too much into things, I guess, to let it go, you know?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I know you do too, man. I've heard you talk about shows before, and I know there's quite a few of us that do, but there's nothing wrong with anybody else that doesn't. That's what I love about this fandom. You know, like some people love this show, and Baby Yoda is the greatest thing that's happened, and I respect them for their view. I don't respect their view, but I respect them for their view. You know, if that makes any sense.
I think, you know, but we're getting into that point of I think we all knew there was going to be that one episode that just totally fell on its face, and this does that. It's not something they can't come back from, but now they have 4 more episodes. They've got to come back with something stronger.
Well, I think that's kind of the thing, though. It's been kind of meth the entire ride so far, and like I said, I will take the meth ride over, you know, the shit-tasticness that is The Last Jedi. But
yes.
At some point in time, you have to improve, or you're going to lose. You know, you lose interest of your fans.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll put it in a metaphor for you. Basically, I'll use roller coaster terms. You had the Great American roller coaster ride that was at Great America in Wisconsin, and you had the Demon roller coaster. One had a huge freaking long line, the other didn't, and the other you got to do loop-de-loops and stuff like that. So you're gonna wait for the old wooden roller coaster that's a brand new one, or you're gonna go on the Demon. It's simple.
Exactly.
You want loop-de-loops and you want to go on the Demon.
And that's what I was going to say. Right now, we're writing. This has pretty much been a kiddie coaster with maybe a couple 20-foot drops.
And we really hoped it was going to be a freaking crazy monster, you know, spirals and other things roller coasters do.
By now,
I don't know if they had this roller coaster where you're at, but the Great America I went to had the Wizard, and it feels more like the Wizard than the Demon.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, it was Marriott's Great America before they became bought out by Six Flags.
Yeah,
just as you go out of Illinois into Wisconsin, that's where it's at.
Yeah, I just hope. I mean, you know, the music isn't Star Wars. The feel is, you know, the aesthetic is Star Wars. But Bear has pointed out to us all different type of homages to different you know, franchises like Rocky. I swear, Bear, I wanted to get one. I heard one in this episode. I'm going to rewatch it and shoot it to you because there is one in this episode of another show that we know. I didn't know if you picked that up, but so the music has taken me out of it. I have to block that out. And then I think we've been beaten so long that people are just willing to take something mediocre and say it's great. And I just don't think this is there yet.
No. But you make a really good point there. And I think it says a lot that we are talking about this because we've all been like, I liked this, but I didn't like that. This is Star Wars. This is what we're doing right here. This is what Star Wars is about.
Yes.
Which, as Mike has said, is important that at least we're here. We're not talking about, oh, this guy said this about us. This guy said this about us. Even people on the other side aren't attacking us necessarily. Some are just stupid and they want to just go and say you don't like it for this or that. But we are making points. And in that, all we're trying to do is say, listen, you're doing all right, but you could do better.
Yeah, but they don't hear. A lot of them don't hear it. You're right.
They hear.
There's that happy medium.
I don't know if that's true. All these episodes have already been recorded, guys. This is already in the can. They're literally sitting back watching the episodes with us, watching our reaction. That's right. It's all done, man. They don't film every week and give it to us.
Exactly. They started a month ago filming. They were already filming season 2. So
but this whole Rian Johnson thing we heard about this week, which of course we can talk a little bit about later. I'm not going to get too much into it. I just want to simply say that's a troll because if he directed an episode, he's already done it. Okay. And if he's going to direct an episode next season, he's already done it. So it doesn't really matter what the fuck the media says, because it's all bullshit. And we know with Ryan Johnson, it's all about making us angry. So I don't even care one way or another whether he made an episode or not. I really don't.
Mike, did you check my video? Did you see mine or Angus's video today about what he said recently about spoiler people for Baby Yoda? If you don't want to hear, please close your ears.
Yeah,
3, 2, 1. He's spoiled that Baby Yoda makes it through this whole which we all knew, but he legitimately just told this this writer that Baby Yoda's there while he was watching it film and this and that. Well, he was watching a season 2 episode. So they reported that, like, okay, Baby Yoda's alive. Baby Yoda's in season 2. Baby Yoda, this guy wants to destroy everything he touches. I truly believe it. And someone said, Angus doesn't agree with me. I feel like he does it because he wants to stay relevant. Yeah. Thank you. Whew, that one caught me there for a second. He likes that he likes to keep a majority of us angry because he thinks it keeps us involved. It's his weird turn on to please half, hate the other half, and he loves everything about it. He's a sycophant.
Yeah,
is that the right word? I think so.
Oh, it absolutely is. And good word used, by the way, Sport.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thesaurus.
He is.
Hey, I recommended you get a thesaurus, so I take credit for that.
I have 3 or 4 of them here. Don't worry.
Yeah, no.
They're all the proper ones. They're British, too.
All right. Mike, go ahead and finish your comment, and then we'll move along.
No. Well, we're trying to keep it tight tonight, Chris. So let's move along to the next topic.
So, next topic. Let's talk about the mech. I hated when they said that. You got the mech and you got the mech. When they're talking about it, it's like, why don't you just say?
I liked it. I
don't know.
It didn't bother me.
These guys don't I guess they do understand mech, but I don't know. But okay, let's talk about the walker.
Well, no, but you're trying to convince us, and they're trying to convince us that this frontier fighter, effectively a reconnaissance scout, doesn't have, like, I'm from an old soldier background, but soldiers have a slang. Soldiers have I don't. We've called them chicken walkers for years and years and years. We're not in it. We're not even in it. Okay, so I thought that was an endearing, quick use of a literary device inside of a piece of dialogue to pull me back into the character again. I understand that people differently, but
I guess I understand when you use stuff and you're talking about it and you don't necessarily think of
but
people
Chris,
you're around.
Chris, they're sprinkling in things like, hey, we know what this means, at the very beginning when he's in the he called Baby Yoda, he called him God, what geez, why am I blank? Womp Rat.
Womp Rat calls him
Womp Rat. You. I'm like, for a second I thought I was wrong there. He calls him a Womp Rat. They're like, remember New Hope? You remember this? You remember that? Like, the nostalgia sprinkling is in everything now. Yeah. Anything that
I don't
talks
have a problem with that.
No, me either. I'm just saying they're doing it.
It makes it feel more like Star Wars, in my opinion. By it's like the whole thing with Scruffy Nerf Herder.
Yes, there you go. What I want to know is, like, I guess I'm the type of person. Again, I come from a different, my major fandom is a little different, where the details mean everything. And, like, I would love to know why they have one, how they have one. Like, is there a black market now for Empire weaponry? Was it just left?
Yes.
Because, you know what I mean? Like, absolutely. I wanted to know about that stuff.
I want that. You bring up a really good point. Was it left behind? My first thought was that somewhere in the woods, and we still don't know what that little tent they were in was.
That was another question I was going to
like. Okay, what is this? I'm wondering if this isn't something that the Empire didn't leave, but they left for these people to watch, and they said, we're going to leave this walker with you. So you can protect it, and whatever else you do with it, we won't ask questions. But we didn't.
Or they just took over, or they just took over something that was abandoned.
But we didn't see what
what
was
is
in the
it?
walker.
Is it spice? Is it spice? What is that stuff?
I don't know. But we didn't see what was in the walker.
Nope.
The
Well, I
red
had an
lights.
issue. I had an issue with no drivers. I had an issue with no drivers. It gives
Mhm.
young children that are just seeing it for the first time the impression that it's a robot. It's not a robot.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
No. There should be two
And-
drivers
and
in
the
there. at
Well,
least.
original-
that was the thing. Was this thing supposed to be automated?
I don't know. That's the thing. But
No.
I don't think so.
I think
so.
there was. I think there was drivers in there.
I think so too.
The way that I think that the way that their seats were set is that they're just too low, and you couldn't see the tops of their heads and their helmets.
Well, the angle that they were showing it at, they were showing it from the ground level.
a lot
maybe.
of low shots. That's right.
Yeah.
A lot of low shots.
It's just I wanted to see if they would get in there because I'm wondering if maybe it wasn't some Empire remnant.
Right.
It's just-
No, I don't.
There's a lot of
No,
unanswered questions with this thing, and the fact that I don't know. It seems really interesting because the people didn't know. I mean,
Right.
and of course they don't. So that means it's been standing in the freaking. There's another big problem. It's been standing in the woods when the raiders come in.
Dog
and shooting.
Balchinians. Yeah.
So why did it have to come out of the woods in the final battle?
Well, that was another thing. Maybe I was wondering, is it because they forticated, fortified?
Fornicated?
Jeez, Scott.
Fortified.
They fornicated.
Fornicated.
That Mandalorian never took off his helmet, but he gave her one.
She gives great helmets.
Great movie. Now that's what we
Nice.
should be talking about.
We will do one of those.
I think we should one Sunday night. That would be fun.
Yes.
But
Now,
what I'm thinking is that
I do want to give before we get too far into the ATST stuff. I just want to give you guys just a little bit of background before I want you guys to keep going with your opinions on it, but I just want to bring up a little bit of information before we get too far here.
yeah,
If I could. Please. Now, as you all know, I deal only in what I consider to be canon, which is Legends, and so I want to bring to everyone's attention that the original lore of Star Wars states ATSTs will no longer be deployed on planets with an abundance of trees or other known obstacles, such as rock-wielding primitives.
Oh,
I mean,
Wait.
Wait.
That's not even the funny part. No, but that's not even the funny part.
Mike.
The funny part is this is taken directly from the ATST service manual.
Yes. Mike, thank you for mentioning that. Let me get my phone. Actually, I can go on Twitter.
Now this is
Right
going to be
here.
stupid, but if you go and take a look at lego.com, they have the ATST Raider, and it does have a pilot in it, so it's probably not automated.
No, and this wasn't supposed to be, I don't think.
but when it gets
Now-
cloose to the pool, it reacts automated. That's what it looks like. It's a robot,
Well,
and it's aggravated.
question, who knows? It makes no sense. That's the
It
thing.
made no sense. It acted
no,
like
it
it
didn't.
knew something was going to happen if it
Or
stepped into
they
that
knew
pool.
something.
Right.
Who knows? That's the thing. Okay. You brought up the manual, and
Mhm.
no, we're not deploying it here. We don't know when this was deployed. We have no clue.
No, but
This
I
may
had
have been
more.
before that.
I had
But-
more. That was just the open of the paragraph.
Okay.
Like this.
But
This
go ahead
machine.
and finish it real quick, but
this
I have something to say
machine-
right
this
after that.
This machine that we're talking about here is built by a company called Kuwaiti Drive Yards, okay? And it is a private corporation that was taken over, basically annexed by the Empire, as was almost everything else around the galaxy.
Right.
This is a private enterprise that probably doesn't, like anybody else, doesn't like to be told what to do. Everyone that doesn't role play the game or hasn't I've been role playing this game since the 80s, okay? The
Mhm.
original
Yeah,
stuff.
same here.
Now, these machines, these yards, and some of the manufacturing plants where they are, I mean, fine, the Imperial Department of Military Research is what's in control of the whole operation, but these private, like the Kuwait Drive Yards, that's not on Coruscant. They can sell units out the back door for double, 300%, 400% to mercenaries and the scum and the huts and everybody else that needs this stuff. And they're used and sold to make a hell of a profit all over the place. So nobody should be in any question. If they have enough money to buy one, then they probably got one. And as far as
But
what they're
shouldn't
doing
they let us know that?
moonshine. Don't you guys see them sitting there drinking it when they first get there? It's a moonshine operation, guys. Come on.
Well, I thought it might be spice, but what I'm saying is
No,
they should give you a little
Spice don't
something.
glow like that.
Well, I don't know in this Star Wars world. I really don't. I mean,
That's the
you
funny
know,
thing. Listen to what
canon
we're
doesn't mean anything anymore.
Exactly. That's the problem. And this is where they run into this problem is that you can't use logic based off of old things. And that's why I try to tell people all the time when they tell me
Right.
I'm wrong about things in The Last Jedi or in the new movies and stuff. I said, but you can't tell me I'm wrong. You can't tell me I can't say that because we cannot period. You cannot, when you're talking about the movies or the series, anything that's Disney, you cannot bring EU into because they have said it doesn't count.
Yeah, until they start using it.
Well,
Until
fine.
I was just
That's
about
the
to
thing.
say that. Yeah.
Well, actually, they have been using it, only they've been raping it, basically.
Exactly.
In a nutshell, yeah. That's a
But
good way of putting
that's
it.
my point is that you can't use that logic of, well, this in this place or at this time. I mean, Scott, you did you were talking today about on your drunk 3PO video, the things you're talking about there from EU, Mara Jade, that storyline. That's where I thought they were going with this, and until they said we're not using EU, I was like, well, what the hell? This is EU. You're basically telling a crappy like campfire version from somebody who just picked it up from 15 other people.
It's one of those things where they made the biggest mistake they ever made was saying the EU is no longer canon. That was the dumbest thing they ever did. And not just because of what the fan reaction was, because they limited themselves from diving into that just plethora. I mean, I think there's like 200 books, like novels alone. 200 novels alone.
Had gold.
Yes.
They had
30 years of writing.
And they smelted it down and they overcooked it.
Yeah.
Well,
and I don't know.
The other thing too, the reason why they got rid of it is they didn't want to be tied to it. But the funny thing is they keep going back to the well and grabbing it.
And the truth is, even if they stayed in, let's say we never did the Legends thing, they could easily have said, oh, that one book, yeah, that's not canon. They didn't have to blanket everything and say, nope, none of that's canon now. Because then they could have easily have used everything and then said, oh, this is going to contradict us. Yeah, that one's not canon.
They don't care. And I think a lot of it goes back down to if they did start using stuff that was there, it's another check that's being written to George Lucas. And I think that's what they're trying to prevent.
And that's the problem. It's like, who gives a crap? You guys want a product. You want to own that product, buy everything and say, we got this now.
But even if they don't buy everything and he gets a percentage, how much compared to what they're going to make is he really getting? Like, this is more of it has to be an ego thing.
It could be spite between Kathleen Kennedy and Lucas. I mean,
she is. Idea. Well, wouldn't you think so?
She's going to go. She's got to go.
She'll make it her contract.
Yeah. Okay.
Her contract is up. She'll then leave.
Hopefully. I'd like to just see her get fired.
They won't fire the first female now.
Well, you know what? This is what I hate. You just pointed out a really good thing, and we're not going to get into politics here, but you know what? The first female who cares?
I don't.
Be on par. If you want to be on par and stop using the women are underpaid, women are this, women are that, fine. If they are, that's fine. But then don't use it as an excuse when one gets fired.
Exactly.
If she gets fired, don't go and say, oh, well, she was the first. She didn't do her job, period.
Look, if this was George Lucas, if this sequel trilogy was George Lucas and Solo was George Lucas, and whatever else people don't like. No, but let's say he did do all this. People would be saying he lost his ever-loving mind. He needs to be taken out as CEO and someone else needs to be. It's not because she's a woman. It's because she sucks.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because she sucks.
But that's not the narrative they want to spend.
No, okay. All
exactly,
right.
man.
So,
exactly.
So the Walker here, Mike, you brought up the point of, rocky surfaces, all that stuff. So Stig is not with us today. He's sleeping. He's in Norway, so he's like 7 hours away.
Love Stig.
Whatever. Yeah. So Stig is asleep right now, but he did say, I wanted to make a point. He said, Kata is a veteran from the indoor battle. And she tells everyone nothing on the planet they are on can damage an ATST.
That's my whole complaint.
They are on a forested planet. The Ewoks use trees to destroy them.
That's my whole complaint.
And now I stopped for a second during the episode and I said, it's like that was a problem I had when I watched it. But then I stopped. I was like, well, again, like the Jedi thing. She may not have been someplace where that was an option. I know, because here's the problem. The Battle of Endor was a group, one group.
Yes, but so she got dropped down afterwards. Let's just even say she wasn't there for the battle.
No,
wait a minute, 1 second, Mike. Just let me hit this real quick. She got dropped afterwards.
Okay.
Even if you got dropped afterwards, Mike, and that's why I told you to hold on a second, because I have the question for you. Let's say while you were in the armed forces, you came in after a major battle was just fought. You're going to tell me you're not going to hear stories of what happened in that battle, what they used to defend them, what like.
Oh no, I agree with you.
No, you are.
I absolutely agree with you. But I also see what Chris is saying, and of course I'm going to elaborate a little bit. Just because there was a Battle of Endor where our particular heroes, where the cameras were focused on the characters that we knew and everything else. I mean, Endor is a large moon, and that military installation, if you think that 3 walkers and 2,000 stormtroopers is all that was there, I think people are fooling themselves. That place was crawling.
Of course.
And so after the heroes left, the mop-up operations could have taken years. Okay,
right, but wouldn't you think? The only thing I'm saying is these were little tiny fucking Care Bears that took down ATSTs, took down stormtroopers. People are going to say, dude, these little bastards, you don't think they're tough? Yeah. They took down an ATST by doing this and by doing that. They tripped the fuck. We didn't even think of tripping it. We tripped it. You're telling me they don't have some type of rope strong enough?
And then he brought up another thing. He said, in fact, the only times we have seen these things destroyed in the movies, it was done by trees. Because think about the other place you saw them.
I don't know. I kind of have a bit of a problem with the whole logs crushing it. I mean, this is supposed to be an armored vehicle. I mean,
it seems a bit hokey. This is the thing, though. You can't.
Well, it is hokey. It was Ewoks.
But
come on,
that's how it was. And
but that's
somebody we let happen. Again, you could say it's hokey, but the man who made the whole story, he's the one that came up with it.
All I'm saying is if they had cable, you could trip those bastards up. That's all I'm saying. And one thing I have to say, I have to give props is the CGI was good.
Yeah, it could have. I mean,
except when it was stepping into the pool.
Yeah, they did a good job though with using the pool though for it. I mean, that was the first place they went.
But then again, Chris,
she should have said, "There's nothing that we have."
Yes, not on this planet, but we have.
They obviously, she could have said, I've seen it destroyed by trees, but we don't have the time, or we don't have the rope, or whatever. Manpower, you could have used anything. You said, I know ways we can, but we don't have the way.
We don't have the prep time.
Exactly.
And an excuse, A through Z. I understand. I agree with you.
But to use that line, and again, she doesn't say I was a veteran on Endor. And this is where I had to change my thought of, well, maybe she wasn't there at the time. There was only one Battle of Endor.
Right.
And that Battle of Endor, the way that the movie describes it, it is only the people that Han, Luke, and Leia go down with that were in the Battle of Endor. We don't see the large group of people. We only see the Imperial one that goes down. But that's what we're told is that Imperial ship goes, and that's only the people that are going to there. There aren't anybody else going. So if she was that small group, or are we talking that we don't know of another Battle of Endor? Maybe not. Mike could be very right. It could have been once they left and once they destroyed that,
that's how I took it. I took it was after the fact.
Ongoing, and that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
That's the case. And I can see that because it's kind of weird you try to throw a character in now that was a part of that landing party.
Right.
But the Battle of Endor, I think it still does mean you may not have seen the same tactics used. We don't know if that planet is fully forested through and through.
Right.
And and keep in mind
it is
also
described
during the
as
Battle
the Force Moon Endor. So
it is, but that doesn't mean that it's absolute.
True.
I mean, I don't know.
And the thing is too about the ATSTs during the Battle of Hoth, some rebel fighters found the weakness of the gyroscope under the commander's module. And I mean, this is old canon stuff, obviously. So kind of technically, George Lucas broke his own canon by allowing rebels not to know the tactics they learned during the Battle of Hoth for last Return of the Jedi. So, I mean, there's already been a little hiccup in the canon because rebels would have already known by the battle. They wouldn't have needed the Ewoks, in other words. They would have already known how to cable and strap the legs, and a rifle shot to the gyroscope disables it.
That's right.
You throw a detonator through the window, and the game's over. It's just like I said, in military terms, you don't forget things like that.
No.
You're talking about people with spears and rocks against missiles, and they figure out how to beat it, and they're not going to remember it. I mean, Spork makes a good point.
Yeah, and also the other thing, and I thought this after you said it, that kind of negates it no matter what. Even if it were a battle afterwards and you were to have seen that, they're not going to drag that thing away necessarily. There's no point to waste manpower on dragging it away. It would have had the logs on it.
And I'll agree with you. And I agree with you, Chris, because I've done exercises while I was in the military with my American brothers and sisters from the 109th Colorado Regiment. And after the exercise was over here in Canada,
once you go into an area, when you're deployed to an area or whatnot, there's still tanks out in the middle of the desert in Iraq.
Right.
Well, yeah. See, we've still got some of your kit. We've still got some of your kit sitting up here from the end of the exercise. I mean, when the train leaves, and if you don't have everything on the flatbed when it rolls out, it's left behind. I mean, it's just the way it is, right?
Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about once something's destroyed, there is no reason for manpower to be used to move it.
No, scrap it maybe, but not move it. You're right.
But what's the point? I mean,
right, right, and just even if it was, let's say it's taken away and it's all cleaned up and they replanted the trees, someone is going to be like, dude, I talked to a guy named Ted who was with Han Solo and that crew, and he told me those little Ewok son of a bitches fucking tripped them, used logs, did this, did that. Like, they were badass little bastards.
It would have been a really good.
The story would have went on, man. The story would have been told because it was a tiny little species that took down the Empire.
Made that happen. If the Ewoks hadn't have done it,
they were screwed.
They were screwed, exactly. And that's and like you said, that would have been exactly what a soldier would have said. Man, we were toast. We were caught. I thought it was over. And next thing you know, we hear these weird horns,
little Care Bears, little koalas,
and then these things just come flying out of the trees and tripping, throwing rocks, and da. And that's exactly what would have been said. You see, the problem here is that was the perfect opportunity. If you wanted to start connecting this, which hopefully will connect with the newer, or try to connect with the newer, but you could connect this with the old by her if she had been a part of the Battle of Endor, or the Ewoks, once they figured out how to destroy these things, the Ewoks could have been helping in reconnaissance more than anything with new troops, if that's what it was, if it was a later battle or more of a battle.
Right.
But that would have been the perfect opportunity. But I did hear that these Ewoks used to use trees to the cabin.
Exactly.
And it would have been perfect. And then she could have said, but I can't see how that worked.
Or even if someone said to her, like, we can't beat this thing, and she's like, we can't beat this thing. Little Care Bears tripped the son of a bitch and killed it. Like, there could have been something else. It just they lost an opportunity to tie it together.
Mandalorian could have said it, Wow.
Right. And the only other thing that really bothered me about that,
she could have leaned in and said, listen, I have seen little bears do this.
Right.
If they can do it, we can do it.
Right. And the only biggest problem I have with that, I think you put it perfectly. I don't know who said it, because I didn't realize it as I was watching it, but now that you said it, I didn't realize, I thought it was robotic. Like, I know there is drivers, but the way it was reacting and the way it didn't want to put its foot in the water, because I thought it sensed or it saw that there was a deeper water pit or something. It almost acted like a robot and not people driving it. And they lost that aspect of it, like the human aspect.
Yeah, I didn't get that. It's like, what are you trying to say by doing that?
Yeah.
And because there were several times I'm like, is this like piloted or not? I mean, and we don't have that. They should have given us an answer at the end or something, or they should have shown, like, they did it several times where they tried to blow them up, like the Mandalorian did at the last. And we see every once in a while, you'd see somebody crawling out of it trying to run. I mean, if they had done that, we would have had an answer. That should have been done. And
again, I just want a little more. I want a little more info.
Did you catch the disintegration before it fell?
Mm-hmm.
There was at least one person in there, because she got him dead center, and the thing with that pulse rifle.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see that though.
I missed that too.
She fired the pulse rifle through the left window.
Right window. If you're talking about on board, it's the
onboard right window facing.
Oh,
left
really?
Window.
Yeah. I didn't realize that.
When the shade falls, when she hits it, and you see the giant explosion, and the shade falls. That. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anybody in there though. That's the thing. If that was somebody, I want to look at that again though, because you're not paying that much attention. But if you saw that, definitely, I want to look at that again.
Oh, I pay attention, man. There was a couple scenes where there was one scene where you could see a boom mic. There's another scene where he goes to there's another scene where he goes to torture and she steps on his wrist, and they actually show the scorched earth. And then they flipped to something and flipped right back to that same exact pose, and the scorched earth is gone. I noticed stupid shit like that real quick. And the boom mic was my favorite part, though. The boom mic
when she came off the bar and she was punching him in his Beskar helmet with her hand for some stupid reason, like a. And then
that had to happen.
She tried to flip him. And when she spun, it's supposed to be she throws him into the wall.
Right.
Seriously, guys.
Well, that's
watch him run into the wall. Watch him run into the wall. She doesn't throw him. He runs into the wall. It's really stupid.
Did you happen to notice the gloves she was wearing?
Yeah, but they were like light gloves, man.
No. The gloves were gauntleted. They were built into the gloves.
I'm sorry. If you punch metal on that, okay, put it this way. If I take a metal hammer with nothing in between it and I slam it down onto an anvil, I'm going to feel it in my arm. I don't care that my hand may be protected on the handle. To hear her hit him and then hear this dink, it's like, I'm sorry. That was another opportunity for.
Well, there you go. The rap was
another
way
thing too. I mean, just because he's wearing a helmet doesn't mean his gong's not going to get rung, because it is. But
oh my God, his
if
brain
bare-fisted, she'd break her hand.
Yeah. Now, interesting point, and that reminds me that we talked about this last week about Mech in his helmet.
Mm-hmm.
We did see. We got an answer to that, because remember I said we weren't sure if it was in his scope or if it was. In
I thought it was sunglasses.
Now no.
If you remember correctly, I said it was Mech inside his helmet.
Well, I understand, but we had not absolutely got that yet. Like it's such a direct way. And I thought so too. I mean, Bear, I agree with you. I thought that it was in his helmet, but in this episode, we got a direct.
Well, I think Comix said it last week, and I thought that's what was going to happen, where he would level up almost, like it wasn't yet, and then he would have gotten something added to it. But I guess even though he was using his scope to do the same exact thing he was using with that, I guess the helmet could do it, and I'm glad they finally showed it, man. I really am, because
it answers a question, because we know Mandalorians have that. And so we got that.
Yeah, I was happy with that.
On a level of 1 to 10, though, I mean, this episode I think is more like a 4. Honestly,
yeah, I'm somewhere with you on that. I mean, I
disappointed in this episode. Seriously,
I still think 2 I hated more than this.
2 was okay, I guess. I mean, 2, there's something to be said about the fact that he loses his ship and he has to find a way. There was actual reason for what was going on.
Right.
He had to get back to his ship. So that's what you see. You figure when they leave, it's late. That's why you have the quick little. Camping scene.
Right.
He got knocked up in the fight at the very beginning.
And he's like, eh.
There's movement there. There's reasoning for it.
Right. No, I get it. I think I like this.
Some character development out of it.
I guess
it does feel like a filler episode after watching 3, though.
It does.
Yeah.
But it's. I honestly, I felt it was a better episode than what we got with episode 4. There are issues I have with it. It's like, dude, can't you lock your ship? I mean, don't you have a security system?
Right. Or, I don't know. He just took such a beating, and I was glad he took a beating. Don't get me wrong, but man, I just thought he should have been dead, and then he kills the thing with a toothpick, and just little things that added up.
I had an issue with that, but that's my joke about it's a video game. He killed it with the quick time event.
You're right.
And also we got a very big reveal, and not that we didn't see it coming. We were waiting for it for that whole episode. but the Force is used.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've seen the Force in this in a place where, again, remember, as much as you want to say it's the Force, of course, what is it? Why is that such a strange thing? Because most of these people, there's only 2-3 people in the past 10, 15, 20 years, 4 or 5 people. Okay, with Yoda, Ben Kenobi, Luke, the Emperor, and Vader. Those are the only ones. They're not everywhere.
Right.
Everything else you hear, like Han Solo says in The Force Awakens, I had heard the stories, but then I saw it. That's what these people are. They may have heard stories.
Right. I mean, even in New Hope, he says a hokey religion. Like he doesn't believe anything other than that.
And so that's where they're going with this. And I think Rogue One did a really good job with that hokey religion.
Yeah.
They had the temples. They were leading to that. That was good nod to that line. That's all these people know.
Right.
And so that lent something to this. And what's funny is they haven't explored that anymore. The more this little thing does that, the more he might sit and go, what in the world is really going on? I've heard he could tell somebody like, I've heard, but I don't know.
Never seen.
Yeah. And so he says it once.
Right.
He says it once in episode 3. And
then, he was confused.
It doesn't make any difference.
But let me ask you a question. I brought this up. I think it might have been Gary. Comic, you might have been there. Gary's stream Friday night. I asked the question. So we've seen flashbacks of the Mandalorian. Some people think he might be from Tatooine because of just the one comment he made at the beginning of this one. But you EU guys, Bear and Mike and Comix, is there red robes in the Star Wars universe other than like, guards for the Sith? Does it mean anything with royalty, like a purple or a red? Because his family was wearing like a dark red robe, and like the people there, it looked like a nice place where he was left before he was put in that little thing and they all died. Like, could he have been royal blood of some sort?
It's a possibility, man. I don't know. I don't remember a lot of the color schemes. I mean, I know that the color purple is considered to be a royal color because of how difficult it was to make during the Middle Ages. But
right. I mean, the Roman emperors used purple.
They've kept it in Star Wars pretty close with those colors, but the red you're talking about is more of a dark burgundy.
Yeah, like a dark burgundy red, like almost like a cardinal.
What I've always thought, and
Naboo, they tended to wear purple and red robes.
Well, yes, that was another question that I was going to bring up because Amidala wore almost the same color. Like, could this Mandalorian be something more than we think?
It's a possibility. So. I wouldn't put it past them.
But I almost thought you said cardinal right there. I almost thought maybe something to do with not royalty, but somebody in a royal court, like a priest, or you see when she
that was my other question.
She wore when Amidala wore the red-ish similar color, if I remember right, that was when she was when she was
queen.
It was
queen. She was queen, yes.
Yeah. You see, I don't know that, but I caught that I don't think that they were. He probably doesn't know.
Yeah,
right. Well, he doesn't, and
nothing to him. It
was a beautiful,
also a very royal color as well.
But I think that you see, again, we have all these things we're saying. This is what we have. This is what these episodes should be exploring.
Yes,
I understand the baby yodeling thing. That's a plot device. That's a move to move forward with. But the problem with it is that's not. And I think Scott, you said it. That's not what this show's about. This is about the Mandalorian.
Yep. Yes. And we wanted to see that,
to be focusing on his character, and yet they seem to be focusing more on the yodeling. It's like,
and Chris, I think you put it perfect.
It's distraction. That's the reason
why
it's
fine,
there.
But we cannot do that.
Chris, you put it perfect. Yeah. Go ahead, Comix.
No, I was just saying it's a distraction. That's the only purpose that it serves, in my opinion, is to distract the audience. It's the jingling keys. Don't look at the issues over here. Look at this cute little baby.
But as time goes on, you're going to be at the end of the season, and go like, well, what the hell happened there? The end of the season. Okay, we got 4 episodes left. They didn't do it in 4, and I said you got either in 4 or 5. You've got to make a major jump. Something major has to happen to put some risk, some loss, something in it. There has to be a real sense of if he doesn't do something, that that something bad's going to happen. Whatever it is.
And I just don't think that's going to happen. But we still have big actors that are supposed to be coming in. Bill Burr.
But 5, that you have to do it in the next episode, because
they should have done it in this episode.
Well, it's 4 or 5 in this. Since 4 and 5 are the middle episodes, you have to do it in one of those 2. They have to do it in the next one.
Yeah, they have to.
Now, well, here's the thing. Let's go this route real quick. Episode 1, fairly good. You get movement. You have a reason. Episode 2, slowed down. Episode 3, we moved up a little bit more. There was some real movement. Episode 4, we slowed down. If they're going on this little, bunny hill thing, we're going to be at the top of this next one. That's when you got to have that big, not reveal per se, but something has.
You got to get to the point at some
exactly, and that's what I'm afraid of. We get to the end of the season, and then what? You can't you can't have a cliffhanger if there's nothing there to cliffhang, and we can't wrap up anything when we haven't gotten anywhere.
I think the cliffhanger is going to be Baby Yoda is going to speak, or Yoda baby.
Yay! Well, I've been saying he's older than we really think, like mature wise.
I've been saying that too.
You think so, Comic? Because I really think he's been like, I don't know, someone I was talking to about this, like, look at what Yoda did in the Empire Strikes Back, pretending like he's this, goofy, not Yoda pretty much, and I feel like maybe he's doing this to see who the Mandalorian truly is. And then maybe he turns around to be more than what he, maybe not a Jedi master, but closer to a Jedi than a baby.
Yeah, I made jokes about how he's going to be like the baby from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He's going to be lighting up his stomach going, so now that I know about you, Mandalorian, how's it going?
Like Boss Baby.
Yeah,
have you seen Boss Baby, dude?
No.
Oh my God, my daughter put it on the other day. I laughed my ass off. Alec Baldwin as a baby. That is funny shit.
Exactly. Alec Baldwin was the perfect person for that.
He was.
Guys, let's wrap this up. Again, I'm hoping that we get somewhere, because we haven't yet. I mean, really, honest to God, I think it was the worst decision to take the baby back when they did. That should have been done in the last 2 episodes, especially with the way this is going now.
Mm-hmm.
You could have had all of this stuff happen on the way back. Something happens to a ship. Okay, perfect example. His ship gets taken apart. You get the parts back. They put it all back together. He gets going. Boom, flies. Oh, crap. Something happens. It starts to break down like the Millennium Falcon used to do. And he has to land. New thing. Now we have to, okay, we're here. Well, these people are willing to help you, but you have to help them, because they're not going to help you if you don't help them. This is how TV moves.
Right.
And if they had done that, then your whole plot, your whole movement is towards, he's going to go back to the planet. He's going to give the baby back or take the baby back. But what is he going to do once he gets there? He gives it back in the next to the last episode. And at the very end of that episode, you see him approach back to where the Empire remnants were. Cut scene, cliffhanger to the finale. He goes in. He gets the baby out. You have the fight at the end. The Mandalorians have to leave the planet they're on. He gets the baby. He flies off. Cliffhanger again. You have a reason, and you at an end point.
Yeah. I mean, you want something that's going to make you want to watch the next season or episode. And so I like your thread. I like the thread where, there's a common thread, but every episode might be a different situation completely, but we kind of follow the same. I get that. And I wish it went more like that than what it's going.
Okay. I gotta interject real quick.
Yeah.
Does Favreau, did he write any TV? Cause I kind of feel like,
no.
I know he's written movies,
not that I know of.
This is my issue that I've noticed with this, and I kind of wish I mentioned this before in one of my videos, but it's pretty apparent that Favreau doesn't know how to write for TV.
You know what, man? That's a great point. That is a great point. He writes for movies, and it's almost like he's splitting up parts of a movie and putting them as episodes.
Uh-huh.
Wow, man.
And really we said that. We said that when we
we did say that.
Well, I did mention it was a repurpose of Boba Fett, but it definitely, you could have taken that and turn it into a TV show if you knew what the hell you're doing, if you knew how to write for TV.
Yeah, but you see, I mean,
he's trying to fit a movie in an episode, and you just can't do that.
Putting episode 3 at the end, and everything in between 2 and now going to be, if you took 3 and made it 8, everything in between 2 and 8 could have been these things. Then what Mike said about Kara, is that her name?
Kara Dune.
Yeah, Kara. So everything that if he's right, if she's some sort of plant that's just there, now it makes sense, because she is then becoming, make sure whatever he does, he gets that baby back here. But you're going to be there by his side, following him or whatever to make sure it happens.
I hope Mike is right. I hope Mike is right so bad.
But hey, from 2001 to 2005, he worked as a producer for Dinner for Five TV series.
Producer,
yeah, I don't remember that, so that's to tell you something.
Executive producer.
Yeah, big difference writing and producing, but
definitely.
Smog TV movie, he did that.
Movie though.
There's only a few TV things that he's done.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Is this the writer that we're talking about here, Bear?
Jon Favreau.
John Favreau.
Did he write
did work on the Shannara Chronicles?
Oh, Shannara Chronicles. I actually
yeah.
I'm sorry to admit I like that.
Yeah,
I like the first season.
I'm a big fan of Terry Brooks, though.
So am I, but they didn't exactly do it perfect, but it was okay.
Can I jump off a topic too?
5 seconds.
Has anybody watched his Dark Material?
Yes.
All right, I've seen 1.5 episodes so far, and definitely it's about a little girl being probably blah 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 blah, but not bad so far.
What's the name of the show?
Brooks.
His Dark Material on HBO. It's so much better than Watchmen. Watchmen is killing me reviewing it. So I tried this movie. You ever hear of the Golden Compass?
Yeah.
Okay, well that was the attempt to make this. This is what the Golden Compass should have been.
He's got an Orville credit.
Huh?
Yeah, he has an Orville credit as an executive producer, though.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So episode 5, make or break.
Oh God, yes.
Comics. What do you think? Make or break on episode 5?
It's. I definitely think it's break at this point.
They need the delivery.
Yeah, they need.
But you do think episode 5 is the point that either
they need to
on
deliver
with it.
Yeah, if they don't hit out of the park with episode 5, like I said, I don't have much hope for the rest of the season. I think it has nowhere to go but down at this point.
But you see, I think you and I kind of thought that from the get-go, and I think Mike was on board with that too. That this is a new territory for Star Wars, this episodic thing of such short nature that they don't understand. You don't have that time to have low points. You can't have low points for consecutive times or several. I mean, 3 in a season is going to be a lot, and they're already at 2. That's a telling thing. That means you got 4 more episodes. You got to basically be ramming down people's throats fast as you can, hyper speed, everything. Boom, boom, boom. Throw everything you got at it. But they're not going to do that. I mean, I'll finish the season no matter what. But I am on the break side of this. I think episode 5 is a break for them. I don't think it's going to do it, and it's going to be down from there. I mean, down from here.
With that being said, what are your thoughts and hopes for the Obi-Wan movie, or excuse me, the Obi-Wan series?
I don't want a series. I want the movie.
You want to know what my fears are? Like, I hope they don't turn it into him just beating himself up for let me rephrase that. I hope we do see a little bit of that. Like, okay, Order 66 just happened. How he reacts to that, how he reacts to not being the Jedi he was. But I just don't want to see a broken man for a whole freaking series. I don't want to see Luke Skywalker.
Okay, really quick. My hope for that, if it goes to episodic, which I guess it's going to, I wanted it to be a movie. First scene, though, replays the scene where he leaves to go hide, and it makes him follow Luke to the Tatooine and show
landing.
Landing.
Right?
Yeah, he took.
Yeah, he did.
Took Luke.
But then maybe just show that last scene
Right, and then him
and
walking
move along where he goes and finds a place. I think they need to just do a quick tie to there. He looks close enough. You can make him look like he did in that movie, and do a reshoot or take that one little bit from the original from the third movie and tie it together. But
because I kind of hope they jump back and forth. I hope they're right before A New Hope and right after
flashbacks.
Return of the. Yeah, I hope it's like both. I kind of hope it's both.
I have an easy transition for that thought at the beginning of the episode too, Chris. Instead of getting into the technicals behind a reshoot, similar, etc., you could have a shot that opens where it's very obviously allowing him to feel slightly older, and he's sitting maybe further back on an embankment from the Lars farmstead on the same kind of beast that he delivered the baby in, just sitting there kind of leaning over his saddle, taking a peek over the ridge kind of thing. And as he pulls away, it could be a few years later, maybe in his binos, we see a 3 or 4 year old toddler Luke running around the moisture.
Well, you're definitely going to have Luke Skywalker in this. There's just no way you can, because that's why he's there. And the way that they make it sound is that that's all he's done, is make sure this kid grows up. But I don't know. I don't want the series for this very reason. That I'm
right.
I don't even want the exploration of Obi-Wan in that. I told you before,
I want the movie to be from when he was being trained, and
Obi-Wan himself.
Yes,
Obi-Wan himself. Like I was saying about all of the nobility. All of the nobility. Can you imagine the culture that Ben grew up in? The nobility, the solidity, the solidity, and the security that envelopment of that culture would have provided for him.
Yep.
And of course, he's a rebellious, recalcitrant little child, just like the rest of us. And that would have been, I think, not leave us the mysteries, right?
Yep.
And give us how this person was built. Show us the Lego blocks that he was built of. We can finish the rest in between in our minds. Leave the mystery, right? I don't know. It's hard. I told you, as a writer, if they offered me to it, I wouldn't take it. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, Bear, is 5 make or break?
They need to. For me, it's not a make or break. It's delivery. They have to deliver something on this episode, otherwise,
definitely
they're going to lose people's interest.
But I think, though, if they deliver with something, that at least that buys them a week.
And also, as to the yodeling, I think there's more to it than what they're leading on. I think that he is more mature than what he's actually leading on, and I think it's a protective mechanism for that species.
Well, yeah, but I think we've also discussed that Yoda was he deceived when he had to. He deceived Luke the whole time, and just to make just to find out what Luke was really about.
Yep.
And it was a device. It was a person. There was a reason for it. Same thing here. I think this is a
with interaction
to find out more about what's going on. What is the Mandalorian's true intent? But maybe not. I don't know.
I thought about this last night too. I remember The Force Awakens. And I don't remember any Mandalorians or any Baby Yodas, so they're gonna die at some point. And I say, somebody said
best
today,
answer yet.
Maybe
somebody said today. You saw this one, Sporky. They said for $1 million, would you like stomp on this little Baby Yoda? And I said, what do you mean, crush a fictional character that's been portrayed as a puppet? Can you PayPal me, please?
Yeah, dude. I mean, give me $10 and I'll do it. I'll do it to the real Baby Yoda.
Exactly. All right, guys. Mike, make or break on episode 5.
I'm still patiently, cautiously optimistic. I see some flaws, but I'm trying to give it some leeway because this is a hard thing to do. I believe that they need to produce something like Bear says, but I'm also more on the forgiving side. It's still at this point, I want to see a complete season.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at, but they got to give us something. So the delivery for sure.
They know it's a gimme.
Yeah,
they do.
But then again, they've done it every other episode. So this is the 5, which would match up with what they did in 3. So maybe.
Well, Bear, I'm just going to say a couple things and then my little outro. But me and Bear were talking a little bit about this and last night, and the way if you take the 4 episodes, our halfway point, Structure wise. We've had a few little crisis points. We've had a major climax as far as a real serious choice needing to be made by our lead character. And as they pull away in their little wagon at the end of the episode, the whole thing feels closed and complete for me in 4. And maybe that's what you guys are feeling when you say we expect something in 5, because I think that a small ending was intended there. Just to make it complete. And that's my only thought on the episode.
With all 4 episodes, it's 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 1 second long.
And hopefully in a few days, Bear will have
like
a very
movie
nice.
to me.
That's with credits removed and all the the catch up in the beginning, the 1 minute catch up they do.
I plan on trying to. Oh, go ahead.
And it plays like a movie.
See, and I plan on, and you said today, Barry, you've done that. I plan on waiting until the end of the series and then cutting out the unneeded parts and trying to do a movie shortened down. I like challenging myself because we're going to be talking about 4 hours or more. Actually,
oh yes,
about 4.5, 5 hours worth of material, and I'm going to try to cut that down into a 2-hour movie.
That'll be fun to see, man. That'll be fun to see.
I'm going to try.
That's all the credits cut out, and all the intros cut out, except for the beginning and the ending outros, and that's it. It's 2 minutes and 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
That's good.
And actually, it's 18 seconds.
Okay, guys. One last time, let everybody know where you can be found and what you're all about. We'll go backwards this time. Mike, please tell everybody where they can find you and what you're about.
I'm contributor at Bleeding Fool, as you know. You can check me out at 60 Recce on Twitter is my main space for finding me, basically. We have some links there to a new online store that we have. I'm also editor and co-author of the Phantom Menace Project with Stephen Walton Jr. I thank Chris for inviting me on and to be a part of this panel. Usually I'm sort of like the background commentator person, and so it's really fun to be able to come out and do this. And of course, the lads have all made me feel more comfortable because I'm not usually comfortable in the space. So thank you very much to everyone for having me, of course. Have a good night, everyone. And to my boy that's hopefully listening out there, I love you, and I'll see you soon. And everyone else out there, have a good night, too.
All right. Bear, tell them about yourself.
Well, you can find me at BearBear Nerd Fun. And either videos daily or every other day or every 3 days, or I'll do 5 at one time, burn the candle at both. For coming, and we thank you, mods, for moderating. Have a great night.
Our mod is Bear, so thank you very much, Bear. I appreciate you doing that. Absolutely. Thank you. Comix, tell them all about yourself.
Ooh, let's see here. So YouTube commentator. I talk about things and stuff. These days it's been about entertainment. I've been talking about the Mandalorian, talk about the little Elizabeth Banks thing. Got a video coming out. Hopefully, probably be tomorrow. Talking about the acknowledgments of the Phantom Menace by J.J. Abrams and the up and coming hit pieces. That's basically it. Oh yeah, you can also find me on Twitter at Comix Division.
Cool. All right.
Oh, and a side note, Chris.
Yes.
Tommy is a moderator for all of us. All over the place.
Awesome.
He's awesome, and I would highly recommend that you moderate him for.
He's awesome, Chris.
I will definitely get a hold of him if there's a way to do that. Or actually,
he's in the chat.
Yes, I know he is. Okay, well, let me see. Right there he is. And
click the chat, and you should be able to moderate him just from there.
Yes, he has been modded.
Awesome.
Tommy.
Done.
Wait. Got to do it right.
Congrats, Tommy. You've just been nominated to. You've just been nominated. Grats, Tommy. You've now just been nominated to never sleep again. Grats.
That's why we have him. No, okay, guys. Go ahead, Scott. Tell him.
Oh yeah, that's me. First, if you haven't watched Comix Division stuff, it's freaking awesome. Please do. I don't think enough people are watching his stuff.
It's because Scott. YouTube hates me.
I'm telling you, man, your shit is funny.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I really do. I'm a big fan. But All right, so I'm Scott, Sporking News Podcast. You can find me on the Fourth Wave Wednesday and Saturday nights on author Stephen Walton's channel. You can also find me on my own, that's Sporking News Podcast on Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. And if you go to Drunk 3PO channel, I am his featured creator of the week. So he put one of my videos on there, and I'm 3 away from 350 subs. So if someone wants to sub me, I'd love it.
Awesome. Well,
thanks, Chris, for having me too, man. I love it.
Dude, I love this. I love this panel. It's great. I am Chris Knight, one half of the Real Review 3000, just so you guys know. That's right here. You guys are watching the Real Review 3000. I appreciate it. I just looked. I'm at 480 subs. I don't know how that jumped so quick. I was on Mary's
400 and what?
480.
Dude, you were just 400 like 2 days ago, weren't you?
I know. And I was
awesome,
on
man.
Mary's channel, so it's the only thing I can ever think of. I jumped like 40 to 50 when I was on Midnight's Edge a while back. This 200 from 300 to now 500, if I get there, which I won't jinx it, but it has gone by so freaking quick, and I appreciate everybody who's done that.
Congratulations.
And that's one half of the way to make hashtag Panda Suit Mary happen.
That's
and she's helping me along the way, so that's freaking awesome. We'll see, because now I was thinking, okay, I got to come up with a 400 sub celebration, and now I'm thinking, okay, I missed 300, and now I'm way behind on 400.
Well, you're going to get to 500 before me, so why don't you do I wanted to do one that
I just hit 248.
Halfway to pay.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, well, I'll probably have a bunch of people on, including this great group. We'll probably have a 30-minute hour conversation on this celebration, whatever number it is. It's crazy.
Keep growing, guys. We rise together.
So, guys, I appreciate it. Same time every week now. We've moved it up 1 hour to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 o'clock Pacific Time, 5 Mountain, 7
Eastern.
Just jump right there. But every week we'll be doing this same time, 6 o'clock on my end. But guys, thank you for coming and watching. Thank you, all of my great panelists. I appreciate all of you guys. And,
hey, as an outro, Ambassador Kosh says something pretty cool about Yoda species.
Yoda species has a penchant for playing against expectations. Perfect example is Yoda from exactly. And I so believe that's what we're seeing here. Is just being led along the line. And yes, that would be a great thing to happen. So, Ambassador, thank you very much for saying that.
He's a good
thank you for the new sub, Ambassador.
Yeah, he's a good channel.
Awesome. I will definitely go do that. So with that said, go to channel. There we go. I'll check that out real quick. With that said, everybody, thank you, and come back next week.
Thank you.
And I'm jumping over to Hanstar's channel to do DJ on name that tune. So if you guys want to check that out, Hanstar, just look him up.
Hanstar rocks.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go throw some darts.
Oh, hey, but I'm gonna go over there,
play some cricket
music for him, and we're gonna have fun over on that channel. So guys, if you want to jump over there, that'd be great. Talk to you guys later. Everybody, have a good day.
Night, everyone.
Hell.
Thank
Cheers.
you, buddy.